8 new WNBA coaches now in place. In 2025, 7 women and 6 men will be in charge on the bench. The WNBA now has all of its head coaching spots filled after there were 8 open positions this offseason. Dallas named Chris Cucklains as its head coach on Monday, and then an hour later Washington hired Sydney Johnson as its new head, rounding out the 7 hirings. There's no common thread among the 7 hires. 3 are former college head coaches: Carl Smesko, Lynn Roberts, and Johnson. 3 were WNBA assistants: Cucklains, Johnson, and Tyler Marsh. And 1 is an international coach, Rashid Mezian. Stephanie White is the only former WNBA head coach to get one of the positions as she moved from Connecticut and returns to Indiana. With the addition of Golden State next season, which hired Natalie Nakas as its coach, the 13 teams will have 7 women in charge and 6 men. At the end of the 2022 season, half of the 12 head coaches in the league were black. 3 years later, that number is down to 3, with Seattle's Noelle Quinn, the only black female after Teresa Weatherspoon, Chicago, and Tanisha Wright, Atlanta, were fired. Nakase is the first Asian American to lead a WNBA franchise. 2 of the openings did go to black men in Johnson and Marsh. The WNBA currently does have 3 black general managers, including Morgan Tuck in Connecticut, Oma Nyanan in Golden State, and Jamila Weidman in Washington. Here's a look at the 8 new coaches in the WNBA. Atlanta Dream, Carl Smesko. Experience. Smesko comes to the WNBA after spending 23 years at Florida Gulf Coast. He had the 3rd highest winning percentage, 829 among active coaches, trailing only UConn's Gino Auriemma and LSU's Kim Mulkey. Outlook. His teams have constantly been near the top in the country in 3-point shooting, and the Dream have talented players in Ryan Howard and Alicia Gray. Chicago Sky, Tyler Marsh. Experience. Marsh heads to the Sky after a successful stint as an assistant coach in Las Vegas, helping the Aces win consecutive championships in 2022 and 2023. Outlook. Marsh inherits a squad led by talented post players Angel Reese and Camila Cardoso. The Sky also have the No. 3 pick in next year's WNBA draft. Connecticut Sun, Rashid Mezian. Resume. Mezian comes to the WNBA after coaching professionally in France for many years, as well as leading Belgium's national team. Belgium came in 4th at the Paris Olympics this past summer. Outlook. He inherits a team in flux with many of its top players unrestricted free agents. Dallas Wings, Chris Cucklains. Experience. Cucklains worked with new GM Kurt Miller in Connecticut on his staff from 2016 to 22 and helped the Sun reach the WNBA Finals in 2019 and 2022. Miller was hired as the Wings general manager last month. Outlook. The Wings have the No. 1 pick in the draft next April, as well as a strong nucleus headlined by Arik Ogunbowale. Golden State Valkyries, Natalie Nakas. Experience. Nakas is the first coach in the expansion franchise's history. She had a lot of success as an assistant in Las Vegas, and the franchise got its initial set of players through the expansion draft earlier this month. Outlook. The Valkyries, who have the No. 5 pick in the draft, also are expected to be active in free agency, which begins next month. Indiana Fever, Stephanie White. Experience. White has the most WNBA experience of the offseason hires. She returns to the Fever after leading the Connecticut Sun to the playoffs the last 2 seasons. Outlook. She has a stellar young core to work with, led by the last 2 WNBA Rookie of the Year winners, record-setting guard Caitlin Clark and center Aaliyah Boston. Los Angeles Sparks, Lynn Roberts. Experience. Roberts is returning to her native California after spending 9 seasons in charge of Utah, where she went 165-116. She was the Pac-12 Coach of the Year in 2023. Outlook. She inherits a team that finished last in the standings, but has a strong young nucleus of Ricky Jackson, Cameron Brink, and Dearica Hamby. The Sparks have the No. 2 pick in next year's WNBA draft. Washington Mystics, Sydney Johnson. Experience. Johnson has worked with USA Basketball over the past 5 years, as well as being an assistant coach with the Chicago Sky last season. Before that, the 50-year-old Princeton grad spent 8 years as head coach of Fairfield University men's team, 2011 to 2019, leading the Stags to 4 postseason appearances. Outlook: he inherits a team that missed the playoffs by 1 game, is led by Shakira Austin, Brittany Sykes, and Ariel Atkins.